see Mr. Kingshaw.
I did a heap of little hedgehogs.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It's a bit hard to see them, eh? Oh dear. Tell me when you need a charger. Mine's on 70%.
I don't know.
You didn't look. Can you see? You can't.
No.
Should I give it to you in case?
Yeah, it's got 70%.
I've got 70%.
Where are you?
It's on, so.
Okay.
What is the time? 10. I have a copy now about paying all night. Always just as I fall asleep, I would have to pee. So I won't have one.
What do you do?
I said if I have a coffee now I'll be up all night peeing, so I won't have one.
Quite warm tonight, isn't it? Mine's been warm the last 3 days, about 100 each day.
Eh?
It was warm tonight, but it's been warm for the last few days.
Yeah, it comes and goes actually.
For another few more days of this, before it cools down to about 90, if we're lucky. Yes, it was a bit easier tonight. What I have to do, Lee-Mac, is I have to end that stream. Then I've got to get out of the phone, close the phone down, wait a couple of minutes, restart the phone, and then it will allow me to do another one. If I just end the stream and try and start another one, it won't work.
Yeah, it sort of freezes your phone. But he was fast back actually, you were tonight.
So, did everyone go ice skating? Because I know how it works. A lot of people don't like ice skating. So, did you still do a heap of nibbly food, or did everyone chip in and bring some food for themselves? Talking about things like that, in the old days people would bring food to someone's house to share a meal, do you know what I mean? Like, and we always used to get people that would just bring in boiled rice. I would say, oh, boiled rice again. Suppose you want some of my chicken cacciatore or some of that curry that someone else brought. Yeah, that'd go well with the rice.
Well, that's fair enough.
So one time, and they turned up, I just boiled rice. Had something in the oven next to it. I just said, there you go. And he said, oh, we've got plenty of rice tonight. I'm going, yeah, should be good. Another good way for women to get together, I reckon, for a morning tea, is someone make their biscuits, someone make their cakes, someone makes little rounds of sandwiches, not too much. Enough to go around for 3 or 4 girls, because that's always good, instead of getting someone to do it all the time. Yeah, most people do that, yeah, VMAC. Which is good. But I'm sure there's a heap of leftovers. The women were skating. You could always do a video, VMAC, and not after seeing your supermodel figure or anything like that, but scenery, even if it's not near where you live, elsewhere. But you don't have to. It'd just be nice to see bits of Canada.
Oops, I already gave you a kiss, didn't I? I meant to write Buttercup. Sorry, I was just putting some washing away. Oh, well, you got 2 kisses, VMAC. That's only because you've got a chocolate fountain. I'll give Buttercup 2 now.
Hedgehogs lives matter. Go to hedgehog.com.buttercup.
I'll give Buttercup 2 kisses, and where's me? And look, followed by little hedgehogs following Buttercup. They're so cute.
No, I don't put my family on YouTube either. By chance, maybe one of the grandkids may be walking past, but that's by chance. My grandson loves to help me making cooking videos. He did all the filming the other day.
Yeah, he likes to make videos actually.
Man, not trying to put things on a downer, but the world has become very sterile, PC correct, and uncaring.
To some extent. Some of this political correctness is annoying. I will always say Merry Christmas, not Happy Holidays.
No, we don't say Happy Holidays in Australia. The correct thing to do in life, politically or not, is just to treat people how you'd like to be treated. Period. If people don't understand each other's culture, there can be a clash, but if people sit down with level heads and say, well, this is why we say Merry Christmas, it's traditional, and you wanting me to change would suit you, but does not suit my history and my culture.
Actually, when would they?
I've got Jewish friends in the past that would always say to me, Merry Christmas, out of respect. And I would say to them, yep, have a good Hanukkah. And smiles all around, no problems. I've sat down with Muslims and had, they've been invited to my home, and I will cook them halal in respect for their wishes. I'm sure as eggs, if I went to their house, they would cook food that I'm used to.
Oh, there's no, how do you spell moose? I've gone blank.
M-O-O-S-E.
Damn, there's no...
Like goose, but with an M.
There's no moose in the emojis. I was looking for a moose.
I think when we've judged others, it's usually based on our values. One thing that opened our eyes up is travelling around the world and how different cultures. You can't walk around in some cultures holding hands.
No.
That's just the way they are. There's a separation of emotion and life. It's their culture. If you were there, you've got to abide by it. Yeah, there was a push here about 10 years ago to say Happy Holidays. The whole country rose up in total anger saying, you're not taking that away from us. Do whatever you like. It's our culture, it's our history. We say Merry Christmas. Shops were not putting tinsel up and just putting Happy Holidays. People were coming along, tearing them down and writing on the glass, Merry effing Christmas. Each culture should be respected. Culture shouldn't have to change to suit other people.
What gets me though is our shops here, I don't know about you, but our shops is already, wasn't even a couple of days after Christmas, selling bloody
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs and
Hot cross buns.
hot cross buns.
Boxing Day, hot cross buns come out. And I'm not angry about that. I just think, well, Easter's Easter. Christmas is Christmas.
I mean, I do like hot cross buns. So
It's
do you
like, can you imagine, Buttercup, just for one moment, that the UK government, in its wisdom, forced all Scotsmen not to wear a kilt? New law. Forget about the headgear. Scotsmen can no longer wear kilts to suit other people's agenda. No. Not going to happen.
Hey, Buttercup, do many women go around in kilts there?
Women wear kilts.
I know they do, but like, do they wear it in summer?
Well,
Is it popular?
I'd say right now, being so cold, Buttercup is definitely not wearing a
No,
kilt.
well, yeah, you can wear leggings under it. See, that's the thing, Mac. We haven't got Valentine's stuff out yet, but we've got Easter stuff.
We don't even celebrate Valentine's Day. We
Oh,
don't
they-
celebrate Thanksgiving.
They do. People do here. They do have cards and flowers go up in sales around Valentine's Day. People do it.
But most people here don't eat turkey either.
No.
I remember in school, when I was in the UK, there was a guy and his two sisters. They wore their tartans, kilts
Where?
in school.
Yeah. I think a kilt's nice. I rather like a
Yeah.
kilt. Like,
Bit breezy in winter.
no, it's just a nice style of skirt, because it is, it's a skirt. I do like some of the tartan material.
It's like when I was a kid in the UK, there would have been at least 8 or 9 different languages, and they're English languages. There's even different forms of Gaelic, depends where you come from. Some of the southern people in England, you can hardly understand because they go, well, when we get there, I know, cider drinking, that's what will be happening. You go, what did you just say?
That guy from Time Team, where's he from? The one with the long hair. What's his name?
Forget where he's from. Do you remember Time Team, Buttercup?
He's got a
Oh, Tony,
yeah, he's got a broad accent.
cold beer.
No, he sounds like a pirate. Oh, that's nice, V-Mac, that they do that. That actually would look nice.
That's right. Sassenach is not just for women, even though in that show it's predominantly her, but it's for lowlander. In fact, even the Scottish have a difference between Highlander and Lowlander. Many a war been fought over that. It's like
that's
in
good, I
Wales
think.
where Buttercup is, kids are taught their language,
That's what I like.
their native language.
And the
Welsh.
road signs.
It's
and,
different, again, from different parts of Ireland, Scotland and Wales, there is a variety. But I think, off memory, there are only 20 letters in the Welsh alphabet. Buttercup might be able to help Nick, but I think there's only 20, not 26. That's why they repeat a lot of the same ones. It's like there's been a drive for 40 years to have a second language in every country. I was learning Italian at school, then I go around my mate's place and Joe, his father, said, "That is not Italian." And he would teach me a few of the Italian.
I actually think that's a good idea, V-Mac. Well, here what they're starting to do with road signs is mainly aimed at the Japanese and the Chinese, because a high number of car accidents is because they don't know how to drive the car properly and on what side of the road here.
Yep.
So they're forever having accidents. So now road signs are having Chinese and Japanese on it. Keep to the left. Keep to the left.
There's only two predominant languages on the earth. One is English and the other is Mandarin, because Chinese has so many different varieties of language. Mandarin is their leverage to speak to each other.
That's something I found out the other day. Martina can read and speak and write Mandarin.
Well, it's a universal language. It's not true Chinese if
No,
say
but
you
I
came
didn't
from...
she's my sister and I didn't even know that. How come I did not know that?
Dunno.
She speaks Indonesian or writes, reads, whatever.
Yeah, we drove through Wales and watching some of those signs.
Signs.
They must pay a lot because some of the words were like 20 letters long. Let me go to little islands.
It's good they put both there.
But the Welsh are very down to earth. Like I say, if you pick the Irish, the Scottish and the Welsh and brought them to Australia, they have just mixed in so well because we're all fairly laid back.
But even pronouncing names in just in Australia or different states, sometimes you had problems pronouncing names in New South Wales.
Chinese is a language in Australian schools that's offered. French is no longer really offered. Italian, Chinese, and I think German are the three most popular. But even if you didn't know any German, and you landed in Germany and wandered around, you'd understand them. There's lots of different words that mean the same thing, that sound similar. And after listening to people for about 15 minutes, you can pick it up. Enough to get your mind. Chinese?
That's different.
Bit different.
It's hard. Japanese, that's hard.
Like Chinese.
What song's that?
That's from a Monty Python movie. I like Chinese.
No, but again in Germany even there's different dialects.
Auf Wiedersehen.
My dad was what they call Schwabisch, which is the old German. He could understand it, speak it and write it.
But
Mum couldn't.
If you're dying for a drink in Germany and say, I like a beer, they go, beer?
Yeah.
It's just bread, brot.
Brought, toilet,
So
toiletten.
you get to understand German is Anglo-Saxon based on a Germanic tribe. Languages only changed because regional areas were so far separated. That's why the planets, no matter where you go, we've been a fair few places, English will get you by.
Yeah. But other countries do appreciate if you try and learn a little bit of their language, even if it's just the basics. They do appreciate that you try, even if it's funny and you don't say it
All the
properly.
Germans would say to me, yeah, your version of German is like Monty Python. And then I say, don't mention the war. And they laugh. No, because there's a lot of Anglo in it. Like I said, if you just wanted bread and beer, you say brot and beer. They get it. Or you can always get away with, if you're hungry, Wiener Schnitzel, danke, bitte. In general, the German language sounds aggressive,
Oh God, yeah.
but it's not.
It's how they are.
Yeah, I mean, a long, long time ago, when the wars were going on, like 16th, 17th, 18th century, French was all over the world, and still is, in a lot of the colonies that they had. But a lot of them speak English too.
But any accent's good. Doesn't matter. Just another country. Listening to people's accents is good.
Yeah, that's like I said, I got an auntie in Nora. I got other people in Scotland, but Auntie Nora was always one that fascinated me. Couldn't understand a word she said because she spoke so fast. And then Glaswegians are a little bit different. They actually talk a bit slower. And then the further you go south in the United Kingdom, the slower they talk. And I'm not kidding you. I always listen to Geordies. They just sound funny. Geordies are funny. And then Mancunians. So there were so many distinct languages within the one country when I was a kid. You only had to go to the next village. They spoke different. One of the most learned people in Britain as a whole rule is the Scots. The Scots in general in the past could speak Spanish, French, German. Very common that most people could speak all of those languages because they used to trade with these countries. But the English, a little bit stubborn, the English. They'll go overseas. You can pick a POM, prisoner of Her Majesty, anywhere in the world, because you'll hear them, like in Thailand, you'll hear them say, "I want 2 pieces of fish," and they'll wave their hand like a fish.
And talking
because
louder.
they talk really loud in English, they think obviously they'll understand every word I'm saying.
Yeah, that's funny. People
I
do
say,
that.
mate, just learn the local language a bit.
Well, you don't have to yell. You can just talk normal.
He said, how do I tell them I don't want it so hot? I say, you say mud ped. And they go, oh, what does that mean? Not so spicy. I should have told them just to say ped.
Can you speak French, VMAC?
Pretty sure she would. If not, she'd certainly understand it.
I'm just lazy. I'd love to learn more languages, but I'm just too lazy to study. I'd love to learn French.
Oh, I have no use for French at all.
I don't care. I'd like to learn it. We might
So
go
when
there
you
one
go
day.
to the supermarket,
Italian, yeah.
you can say, I would like
Yeah, that's right.
just a wafer thin piece
Italian.
of salami.
I don't know about Chinese. It's such a hard language. But I'm just too lazy to study.
Well, your brain after about the age of 50 makes it difficult to learn, as in the saying, old dogs and new tricks. I get away, okay, in Germany, Italy, probably in about half a dozen other countries because there's so much that you can pick up quickly. Chinese I'd struggle with, for sure.
Yeah. Well, with animals, it's just a case that you've actually just got to sit and listen. You've got to tune in. You'll be surprised what you'll pick up from an animal. But learning another language,
So if we could speak Maganese, we could
Yeah.
speak to the magpies.
well, we can.
Yeah, we do actually. They understand.
But some animals sometimes don't want to listen, like cockroaches. I try to tell them, go out of my house or you're going to die. See this can of spray? If you don't leave my house and find some bushland or somewhere else to go where you're safe, you will die. But they don't listen to me. Oh, mate.
I was very strong when I was a kid, anti-German.
I love you.
Sure Buttercup had the
Hey.
same sense. Anti-French, actually any anti-continent. Anything that's not UK, they were anti.
I'll have to send you some links, Buttercup, because there's a few that I've watched. You'll be amazed by this one guy. There is a guy called the Horse Whisperer, but this isn't the guy that I've been watching. It's amazing the connection he has with horses.
The Japanese did some terrible things to Australians as well. We fought them for many years.
I mean, my childhood growing up within the family was good, but yeah, I copped it at school until I was a certain age, 10, because I'm German. Some of the things I got called and got told was not fun.
Australia was under real threat. I mean, to give you an idea, the Chancellor in Japan had actually already printed out 5 billion new currency for Australia. So after the invasion, it would be no longer, at that time, was the pound, shilling and pence. It would be a version of the yen. And they'd already printed it. They'd even got rules for different areas, what people could and couldn't do. All these were found after the war. They were well and truly ready to take over Australia. And we were bombed all over the place. Darwin, Broome, Sydney got attacked. Just north of where I used to live got attacked. Plenty of wreckages of their small mini submarines were found and still being found. They wanted Australia more than anything because of the resources. If there was a country on the planet that was worth invading to take over their resources, it's Australia. We have every known mineral, gas, you name it. We got it all. No, I'll tell you what you're going to find, Buttercup, is that you and I and millions of us over 50 will be marching on the street saying you're not taking any more of our sons' and daughters' blood. I would tear down my parliament with other people gladly in an expression of that's not happening. Yeah, but I mean, Culloden was a massacre on both scales. Both the English and the Scottish lost many people. But the fact is, let's not go past the fact, England were tyranny over Scotland. It wasn't the other way around. There was a time Scotland got all the way down to London at one stage, to York and other, but the truth is, it's the English that wanted Scots to be subservient. English believed they were a higher race of people than the Scots. It's as simple as that. And you talk about the death of an English king, and the only heir that was lineage was Bonnie Prince Charles, who apparently by all reports was a total knobhead. But he was rightfully in line to be the king of Britain, not just Scotland. But that didn't happen. He ended up going, I think Bonnie Prince Charles ended up living in the Vatican and died there, his only area of refuge. Couldn't go back to France, because part of France was also part of England at one stage, and hence the reverse, 1066, Norman the Bastard. That was his name. That's what people from France called him, Norman the Bastard. Invaded England, put castles everywhere, suppressed the people. It didn't last long, but it lasted long enough. And some of the best castles in England, Wales, Scotland, are Norman built. They know how to build castles, we've got to give them that credit. Yeah, the English had one policy that we would call terrorist today, is where they would, and the Romans used the same tactics. They would just raze the land, anyone's farm, burn it, animals, eat them, kill them, murder everybody. There is no resistance when there's no one left. That's the policy of a burnt, scorched earth policy. The Romans were famous for doing that. The Romans would, at many times in the UK, at that time, that they were growing crops, different crops than what we had today, but food that they would live off. The Romans would wait just as the harvest was ready, take a whole heap of it for themselves, and burn the rest. There's one thing you can't survive on if you've got no staple foods. And the British did the same, French did the same. I mean, if you want to look up horrendous, look up the Belgians and their invasion of different countries and what they did. But England's not alone in what happened through the slave trade. It wasn't that long ago, when you think about it. Slavery in itself was a form of currency. And are we any much different today? Well, when you think about it, probably not. We're just not in chains. They have digital chains on us now and take all our money. I read of some of the, because I've got family in Canada, and a lot of history is a lot of conflict between English and French, a lot of conflict between different races, and lots of the English doing what they did, moved, as you say, you went to Nova Scotia, but they went even further. They went way up north or way out west. But yeah, I mean, English were tyrants, just like the French, the Belgium, the Spanish. We could just make a whole list of these countries that colonised the rest of the world. There's a famous story of in Australia when Captain Cook found Australia and claimed it for the UK or England. And at the time, not more than a couple of weeks later, La Perouse, who was a French, wandered into Botany Bay, just saying, "G'day, how you going?" They were worried he was trying to claim Australia for the French. La Perouse today is a suburb, a flash suburb in Sydney. Still kept his name, he just didn't give him any land. But if you want to be really talking about humanity, we don't own anything. We're here for a short time. We make demands and put pressure on people for unreasonable reasons when we only have one planet. Borders exist only in the minds of the greedy. No, in fact, there is historical evidence, shockingly enough. I believe the first peoples, other than those indigenous that walked across a landmass from New Guinea and Indonesia at the time, many 100,000 years ago they say it could have been, but the first, if you like, Europeans to land in Australia were the Vikings, followed by the Dutch. On my coast, the west coast, there are dozens of galleons from the Dutch. Even the Portuguese came down. This is way before Australia was found by Cook. And they landed and said, "It's bloody hot, the animals want to eat you, and we want nothing to do with it." A good friend of mine, Max, actually a diver, well, I used to dive, but he found the wreck of the Batavia, which is a famous Dutch East Indies ship. And that sunk in 1640 or something like that, well before 1770. There are even races of Aboriginals that have red hair and light skin, which they can only determine through DNA, came from the Dutch. There's no other way it could occur. Portuguese were basically in it for the quick buck, and they admit it themselves. Spice trade is what it was all about for the Portuguese, or goods, slaves. It was all money, 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 money. They weren't really colonists. In fact, Australia's first 2 years of colonisation was disastrous. They didn't have a lot of people here, and a lot of them died, and they were waiting on supply ships to bring normal food to them. But they only just got by until that ship came in. But each country's got its own sort of history. A lot of it's not good, particularly for the indigenous people of the lands. But the only nation on this planet, I believe, is non-aggressive in many aspects, is the Inuits. See the difference there? Political correctness, Inuits. When I was a kid, they were called Eskimos. But they're Inuits, and they don't attack people. They would have their own conflicts within families, that's proven, but they were regional conflicts. there weren't other countries. And I have a great respect for people that can live on ice for 24/7 for 365. That's definitely a harsh environment. It does melt. They go out in the tundra, catch different species of animal, different times of the year. It's amazing. They did studies in the 60s and 70s about immigrants to Australia. Now, Italians come from a Mediterranean climate, and many of the other people came from climates. But the ones that suffered most were those from like Yugoslavia, any Slavic state at the time, Russia, English. They suffered because it was simply the heat. You take a species out of its natural environment for thousands of years. Let's say someone lived in Yorkshire and then they immigrate to Australia. Well, there's nothing like Yorkshire anywhere in Australia. It's hot and dry. Some areas is nice, but basically it's hot and dry. And most people that came here came for work. And on average, the statistics show more than half the people within or after 2 years, because they had to stay 2 years. In the 60s and 70s, it was called the 10-pound pom. You could bring your whole family from the UK to Australia, which just cost you 10 quid, because they wanted people in Australia. But more than half, after 2 years, went back. It was just unbearable for some people for family reasons. You can imagine in the 60s, we flew here, and it was 5 or 6 landings in propelled aircraft, BOAC, planes going, and I don't know, 28, 29 hours was the trip all up. And that was a normal flight. There were no direct flights as there are now, which take only 17 hours, nothing like that. Hedgehogs do matter. But the one thing that wasn't a problem for me, that when we came to Australia in the 60s, there were a lot of people who spoke very similar to us. Even the Australians spoke very English. It's only been since I've been a boy till now that we have a colloquial language. Like, g'day mate, you going alright? Are you alright? Yeah, this kid's alright. And dog going alright, is it mate? And all over Australia, there are different variants on the Australian accent. But, like I say, when I came here, everyone sort of spoke Englishy. Even the news, and Buttercup will remember this, Movie Tone News. London today had a heat wave. It reached 22 degrees Celsius. People died, more news at 9. Yeah, even the news was read by Englishmen in Australia when I was a kid. Vampire lives matter. Big organ music in the back. Presenting VMAC, Vampirus of Canada. There's a lot of vampires, metaphorically, on the bottom of YouTube. They don't come out till night time. They try and suck the blood out of everyone. You notice most of the real knobheads on YouTube don't get up until after lunch, for starters. A lot of them are alcoholics and pretentious, and I'm more important than you. But you don't see them. They're like vampires till the night comes around. Check out the channels. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to find this particular horse whisperer trainer for Buttercup, and I can't damn well find him. It was in my memories yesterday, and I don't know how to go back to look at that. He was... It might take me a couple of days for me to find it. So who's a vampire, VMAC?
I'm just saying there's a lot of comparison between vampires and a lot of YouTube channels. They don't get up till after midday or later and don't open their channels till it's dark.
What about the people who do believe they're vampires? Really do go drink blood?
Well, I've got to tell you, there are vampires on this planet.
Yeah, bats.
Yeah. And other animals, believe it or not.
Yep, vampires do matter.
Everything matters.
Actually, VMAC's avatar always reminds me, I don't know why, reminds me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
To me, it reminds me of Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Oh,
Mick
yeah.
Jagger.
Mick Jagger, yeah, it
I
is
bet
too.
you're a Mick Jagger fan, VMAC.
Oh, yes, people. Some weird people, man.
A lot of cultures would drink human blood. A lot of cultures would eat the heart of their enemy to garnish the strength. And I'm not making that up. And believe it or not, today they still believe there are cannibals.
Yes, hiding. So
Papua New Guinea apparently has quite a few.
they advise you not to go.
Would you like to come for dinner? What's for dinner? Well, you will see. VMAC
Yeah.
sharpen the knives.
Well, I'm going to bed shortly.
Yes, it's time to go to sleep.
Just might have to give me a day or two or a week, Buttercup, for me to find this particular
I'll do the question tonight.
horse channel.
Who won
Oh,
the
yeah.
original series that started the vampire craze? VMAC, I expect you to answer this in no time at all.
Say it again.
Who wrote Dracula?
Oh, that's on the tip of my tongue.
VMAC will know it. Who wrote Dracula? Come on, peoples. It's Seed's question tonight. Who created Dracula? That's it.
I couldn't.
Bram Stoker.
I knew it started with B.
Oh, we have a question. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please.
Oh, go B, mate. No, B. Buttercup, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Buttercup question. All the way from the quaint small village in Wales, here is the question.
What part of the sleeping human body do vampires prefer to bite? Well,
I'm going to say
I mean, next.
the ear.
Yeah, the next obvious.
The ear. An ear
But,
bleeds far
yeah.
more quickly.
That's what I said, VMAC, but I bet you it's not. I think the neck is what the movies has portrayed it.
I'm saying the human ear.
I'll say the leg. Yeah, the movies have portrayed the neck, haven't they? Not ears.
All right,
Leg.
it's good. Nose. Ears and nose bleed profusely.
Actually, it's a good question for what you were talking about. Any major artery. Oh, come on, VMAC, that's...
One bad answer. Two bad answers.
So, the leg's not right, Buttercup.
I'm saying the nose now.
So who are you saying no to, me or Seeds?
Oh, VMAC likes a bit of thigh. Ah. Actually, I've got to watch out for VMAC because she'll probably stand up to
Okay.
about the height of my thigh.
So it's not the nose, it's not the leg.
Buttocks. A deep meaty sandwich of blood.
Okay, so is it the thigh like VMAC said? I suppose it's part of... Oh, no, okay, not the thigh.
My question would be, where are you getting this information from? Like it's a fact.
Well,
Vampires are
Yes.
mythical, but she's given a question that's factual.
but there's facts out there.
not bottom.
I was going to say bum.
Well, it's a shame because a vampire could even become a bum buddy. I'm just kidding.
The boob.
Well, men don't have boobs.
Well, you do. They're just different shapes.
Okay, the hand.
I'm not telling you my secret.
Oh.
Boob. It's not the
Foot.
Well, foot is the temple.
Buttercup and the Temple of Doom. Guest star VMAC, the living vampire.
I can imagine what it is. Go, what is it, Buttercup?
Just imagine if I phoned VMAC, it'd be, hello.
Seeds is close. It's the big toe.
Big
oh my
toe.
god. Well, actually that has one of your major, what's the names? What do you call it? God, I'm blank now.
A human is more likely to bleed out through an ear injury or a nose injury.
Well, vampires? Well, yeah.
Have you ever had a nick on the head where it just like spurts out blood?
No.
Tiny little nick. I've had one go, shh. VMAC would be in a frenzy. Yes, VMAC. I'm calling VMAC. Hello, VMAC here. How you going, mate? Seeds, don't call me on the bad line.
So don't.
Click.
So be careful if anyone sucks your toes then, Buttercup.
So you're telling me that the Duchess of York
Yeah,
was
that's
really
what I
being
was,
attacked by a vampire?
that's what I was just thinking.
It's like this English colloquial language that I remember quite clearly. Like, if we said to VMAC that in the past, Buttercup didn't mind a damn good rogering, she'd probably go, what the hell are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? That sort of language that English bastardise, but we all understand what they mean. A damn good rogering will fix all your woes. You don't know what a damn good rogering is? You must have grown up in an area where rogering didn't happen.
Well, she's got a laughing face. I think she does know.
Rogering is sexual activity.
Of course, she just said, of course she knows.
Yes. But there's other words that they used to bastardise as well. A lot of cockney.
I was going to go get ready for bed.
I shall have a drink of V8, not VMAC, and then I shall drift off into sleep.
V8 is a fruit drink, by the way. Fruit or vegetable? Which one did you
A
buy?
bit of both. Carrot. I think this one's carrot. Pineapple. Other stuff. But it's good.
Yep, I's gone to bed. Don't get cold, you two. I never who else is watching.
I have no choice about it being cold at the moment, I'm afraid. It should be peak winter coming in at least the next couple of weeks in the UK and Canada. Have a good night, good day. You all start yours, we're finishing ours. Have a good time. VMAC, be kind to some people, but of course those who need a damn good rogering, you make sure you give it. Until next time, on Bram Stoker's Hedgehogs Lives Matters. Until next time, be safe.